The first design element I chose to discuss was the setup of the stage. So the show was done in the round, and the way they had set up was there was a perfect square in the middle with 3 rows of seats on each side. This element allowed 4 entrance and exits for all actors, which really highlighted the crossing and the street / town square idea they were contributing. It impacted me as an audience member because I got to experience it in a very different setting. I got to feel immersed into it as characters were running behind me and through the sides. I felt very immersed as an audience member. It contributed to my overall experience as it was very, I felt in the show. The way it was the actors were running all over, so I felt there was actions going on everywhere. It was cool. It contributed to the storytelling because it allowed for the actors to walk out of the square but still be in the performance. So they could be behind the curtain, but you could still hear them screaming and making all these sounds. Additionally, it allowed for the blocking was very well done. There were times when they would walk across and it worked so perfectly they wouldn't hit, but then there were also times where specifically they would walk, so they would interact with one another, which really contributed to the story and how you could follow the characters communicating with one another, not through words, but through their body movements. The second design I chose to use was the lighting. The lighting was very generalized. There were lights all over on the top, so everything was lit, including the audience, so that the actors could see us and then we could see them, especially during one part of the show when the actors froze and started mimicking everyone in the audience. So there was, if you were sitting like this, the actor would start doing the same thing you were doing, which I thought really contributed. Additionally, at one moment, the actors froze in a spot and they were facing another actor, and they started putting colored lights for about 1 minute. The only time there was different lighting, and it was to highlight almost the emotions that these characters were portraying. There was someone who looked envious and they were lit up in green, and I thought that the lights could represent what they mean. And the lights kind of showed, when they started flashing all these colors, it just highlighted and emphasized how they interact with one another. It really brought the show together because all the actors for that moment were on stage together. And the actor that was sitting in the audience, to get the audience's perspective, during that time where the lights were crazy, was looking at specific areas as lights were hitting them. Example, the green and the envy, or the red with anger. And then there was a pink with 2 were in love. So the lighting really contributed to that. As an audience member, it really made me think about what the colors could represent and why they represented that relationship or power status.